Hi, my name's Eva and I'm a doula, and I thought I'd do a video today because I'm near the end of filling up my lovely book. Since getting it about 4 years ago off of a friend, I've taken it to all my trainings that I've done over the last 4 years. I've used it for reflections and all sorts of things, but I discovered something. And it's to do with the final few weeks of pregnancy, where you're waiting, you've got all these hormones going around your body, you don't know when birth's going to be, you feel quite intense perhaps sometimes, or maybe you don't, maybe you feel calm, but it's yeah. So when I was in that phase, I found that writing seemed to really help me. I'm not a poet, I'm not a writer, or anything like that. I'm not particularly creative, although I really enjoy creating. But I just allowed my words to flow, and these were the words of I found poems in this book of my final week of pregnancy, and a couple of poems from my first 3 days of postpartum with my baby, where I'd sit up at night feeding and my mind would be racing and I'd be completely in love with my baby and I needed to write things down. So I just allowed the oxytocin to allow things to flow. So I thought and I'm always telling my clients that in those final few weeks how important it is to channel that creativity that that it's not necessarily creativity, but the creative energy through pregnancy and birth that's so built up now and waiting for birth to happen, that energy that you really need for birth. But it's nice to channel some of it into being creative. It might be drawing, it might be making something else. Nesting is another way of doing it, isn't it? Preparing your birth space. But writing is one way, and it gives you a really nice memory of a really special time that you might like to hold on to, and it can help you remember where you were at that point if you want to remember. So yeah, these are a few poems that I wrote during that period. My first is called 9 Moons, and I wrote this during the final. I wrote this about 3 days before my daughter was born. And also I just want to say that this time of year as well, I wrote these this time of year 5 years ago. It's a time of year with the autumn equinox coming where you do start to feel like you want to slow down. You've had summer, you're waiting for winter to arrive. We've still got some warm days, but you know, a bit of you might be thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind putting on a jumper now, or getting out some warm clothes. And you start looking to the next few months. You might start thinking about Christmas or Yule, or whatever you call it. And it's a time for processing. It's a time to start. It's the final harvest as well of the year. Well, it's the beginning of one of the final harvests, because Samhain is the final harvest. But it's a time of year to start processing, to start going in yourself, and to start channeling your creativity. So yeah, 9 Moons. Summer has waned. Autumn's breath stirs at the door. Instincts rise within as women through time have felt before. As the final quarter of our harvest moon draws near, Gaia draws me to a dark cave and expels all fear. To go within and be with my child, to enable myself to be an animal, wild. The waiting begins and my primal takes over. My man with me, so close, my lover. Our new life created 9 moons ago. Now nearing their birth as the autumn winds blow. That's quite significant as well for me, because I'm on call. Well, I was on call. I've had one lady birthed yesterday, and I'm on call for another lady due in about 2 weeks, and it just I don't know, it's nice to read that and reflect again. And this is my second poem. I wrote this in the first few days after having my baby. As the winter winds still blow, as seeds begin to grow, your spark begins, Imbolc was near, yet we know not that you are here. We find our new life, a thought we hold dear. Each cycle you thrive with the wheel of the year. Through the great web of life your threads intertwine. With ours you begin on this earth in this time. We bloom with the solstice, Lammas, mists of early autumn. Harvest arrives, dark nights draw near, and close to Samhain you were born. A perfect pagan baby, you are within our sight. You began in early spring and born in late autumn light. I called that the perfection of the pagan year because it just feels so fitting when a baby's born in autumn that they start with the seeds of Imbolc, where seeds are being planted throughout the world, you know, or in our season anyway. And the earth starts to, you know, new seeds start to grow, the leaves on the trees start to grow, babies start to be born in the wild, in nature, and yeah, it just seems fitting to me. And then this one is my final one. It's called An Ode to Oxytocin. Again, I wrote this at 3 o'clock in the morning, really tired, sleep deprived, and my milk had just come in. An ode to oxytocin, a simply wondrous thing, created through love to set the scene. A pregnancy begins, it's loving all the way, then ending one fateful day with the oxytocin surge that gives the mother that urge. The baby is born in a bubble of love, creating more oxytocin to step forth, bringing the milk, the fuzzy love zone. What an awesomely amazing hormone. A true ode to our oxytocin. This is the hormone that really does win. Absolutely perfect, the spark of human life. A drug of love without which the human race would be in utter strife. So, they're my poems that I wrote around the time that my daughter was born. I've got a few more, but I won't bore you. But they're the most significant because of the feelings I was feeling at the time, and the immensity of the oxytocin and the concoction of hormones, and the waiting and romanticising the wheel of the year, and how my baby was fitting in with that the perfect cycle of harvest at harvest, of the birth being at harvest, and having the pregnancy being seeded at Imbolc. It was, yeah. So if I can do that and channel my emotions and being, then I think most people can. But it's whatever you want to put your mind to, really, and not worrying about what it sounds like, what it looks like, and just getting your emotions and feelings out can really help in that period. So that's it. Thank you. Bye.